Right here is one of the only small cars you should ever consider buying. Here we have a Honda Civic, because no two small cars are all alike. While some cars are known to go hundreds of thousands of miles, other cars can leave you in financial ruin. And there are some amazing small cars out there. Here we have a Honda Civic, one of the only cars you should consider buying if you're looking for a smaller vehicle. Why do you buy small vehicles? You value low running costs, fuel economy, you value something that's maybe peppy and fun to drive, easy to use and park, but you also value cost, because small cars generally are a little bit cheaper than some of the larger cars. Mid-size, large vehicles, SUVs are always going to cost more. This is a car that absolutely checks every single box, the Honda Civic. One of the only cars you should ever consider buying. And it almost doesn't even matter which generation. You know, you go back up to the 2012, 2013, when they ended the torque converter automatic transmission. We bought one of those for ourselves. Then they switched over to the CVT. They had a few little minor running issues there. They had some problems. But overall, for the most part, if you maintain them, the Civics just kept on trucking. Now we're in a place where we have much more sporting driving experiences. 2-liter engines, 2.4s, 1.5 turbos have had some issues with fuel and oil dilution, but they're pretty much have a new way to administer the changes out of that. And Hondas have always been a very reliable car. The Accord, its bigger brother, has had a few more issues with transmissions, but the Honda Civics have always been a very fun-loving sporting vehicle. The one that really preaks the eye right now for me is the SI, because the SI gives you the front wheel drive, but it also gives you a 6-speed manual gearbox, or even the Type R. The Type R is another little hot rod we know is crushing numbers on the Nürburgring. So they can be fun and they can be economical. You can literally have your cake and eat it too. That's the beauty with Civics, but they look pretty cool too. You have some interesting taillights, you know, certainly stands out a little bit more boldly than something like this little Kia Forte. Some people like these, but these are trash. They're easy to steal. The reliability is up in the air, and quite frankly, the build quality isn't what it is in a modern day Honda. Doesn't matter which engine you use, they're always very, very reliable, and you're going to likely get 200, 300, 400,000 miles out of most Honda Civics. I still see 70s and 80s generations driving around today. It's just an odd car that just keeps on going. Look, you can get sunroofs in some of these cars. Nice, beautiful chrome detailing. Having a small car like this doesn't mean you have to cheap out and have the bottom barrel junk. You actually get all kinds of beautiful laser cut rims on here and nice handles. But look around the front. They actually have a beautiful sporting front end on them. And actually, to be honest, I think they even look better. Even from a stylistic perspective, compare that to a Kia, which is very vanilla yogurt. The Hondas have always, if anything, sometimes a little over-styled, especially when you get in the Type R, too many little fake vents, but they still look sharp. And why do you think so many tuners take these and hot rod those little engines up? Because they can take it. And even if they do blow an engine, they're still cheap to buy and build and parts, and they're well supported on the aftermarket. And honestly, from our perspective, our experience is annual maintenance is so cheap. You basically get a few quarts of oil, an oil filter, change your air filter, do the plugs, do that once a year, and you can literally do all of that yourself. Easy to do for a DIYer, and you can do that for $80, $90. It's a cheap car to own and operate. Automatics, CVTs, torque converter autos. You can get manual gearboxes in some configurations. They're predominantly front wheel drive, which means you've got good traction in the winter too. And the only downfall is you don't get all wheel drive with a Civic. You've pretty much got to step up to Acura to get some level of that. But honestly, just a fun-loving car that's never gonna leave you stranded, and it's gonna leave money in your pocket, the Honda Civic. See, because if you're looking for cheap and small, don't get fooled by cars like this. They're small, they're cheap, but that's the trap. These cars here with the patented oil burning technology, like you're seeing in the 4 Rings of Despair, combine that with piling up timing chains, water ingress, all kinds of catastrophic failures from coolant leaks, oil leaks, and blown engines by the time you're at 70 or 80,000 miles means these cars, not only do the rust wear them out quickly, but the quality means you're going to be shopping for a new car way sooner than you should. Or the little Mazda RX-8, another small car that's fun and cheap, but it's only fun for about 30, 40,000 miles until the Renesis seals start to go. And of course, then you have no compression, then the engine won't start, then you're burning oil, then of course it's making weird sounds, and the next thing you know is you tow this vehicle in to the repair shop, and of course, then it lays out in the backyard to finally go away to pasture, because these cars don't last. So don't get fooled by small and cheap. stick with these 3 critical brands. If you're liking the video so far, you're gonna love the rest of the channel. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below and don't forget the notifications bell so you know when the next amazing videos come. The next model car that I have to recommend that you seriously need to consider buying is a Toyota Corolla. Now, maybe you're bored with the regular sedan. Many people are. You know, they come in a variety of different drivetrains, primarily ECVT, of course, transmission. You can also get a hybrid system, naturally made it up to a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder engine, or you get the 2-liter engine, or even better, you can get the GR Corolla, which gets you 300 horsepower, made it up to a 1.6 liter turbocharged engine, makes 300 horsepower, all-wheel drive. It is an animal, and many of these cars are still built in Japan, and everybody knows the Toyotas that are built in Japan are the ones you want to have. So a lot of these Corollas are fun to drive, very economical, very reliable, and they look pretty sporty these days too. I love the style of headlights. Look at this, very stylish. Look down here, you have this very aggressive chin spoiler here. Very nice setup here. Of course, you get these rockers that pronounce out here. The hatchback is also a very good looking car. You know, some like the sedan, some like the hatchbacks, but I like this style here personally. In the Corolla, this is a gorgeous looking vehicle. Look at the taillights, LEDs. Of course, you get the great detailing on the exhaust. Now, this is where they cut corners, but you know what? That doesn't matter. For people that want to get around as cheaply as possible, but as reliably as possible, the Toyota Corolla is the way to do it. Now, Repair Pal also states that you'll have a failure maybe 0.3 times per year. Maybe something every 3 or 4 years might creep up. Otherwise, all you're going to expect are basic maintenance, oil changes, air filters, very simplistic. The cost of running is going to be very cheap, and the GR Corolla is a hot little number. Now, these vehicles here are very basic, simple, but they're going to get you around as cheaply as physically possible. Now, they do come predominantly with front-wheel drive, but they are a very, very reliable car, and one definitely that I would strongly recommend if you want a small car and you want something that's kind of fun, kind of interesting to drive, and certainly cheap and easy on the pocketbook. The Toyota Corolla is your game. Now, a lot of people wonder, well, what's the difference between a small car like a Toyota Corolla and say a vehicle like the Nissan Sentra, like these? Well, these Sentras are nice little vehicles. They're also very affordable for the most part with the little gas cylinder engines. They also do come equipped with some great detailing. Look at the wheels on these vehicles, and in a lot of ways you're getting more bang for buck, and that's the way a lot of these other OEMs seem to manufacture. You're getting a little bit more of the bling, but maybe not as much as the reputation. So here you get a sunroof as well, and of course you get like easy access in. You have a little wing on the back, and these Sentras sometimes come equipped very well. Now, this is an SV, so it's an upper trim level vehicle, but ultimately the big thing that was holding back the Sentras are the CVT transmissions, the continuously variable transmissions, which essentially is belts and pulleys. Now, they've gotten a little bit better, but Toyota, on the other hand, with the Toyota Corolla, has done something a little different. They're ECVT. They have the torquey first gear. They essentially are planetary gears that allow the vehicle to take on that torque, especially accelerating out of the hole. And that's why these vehicles tend to just last and last and last. And that's the key difference between a Toyota and say even a Nissan or many other products that are using the CVT transmissions, even like Hyundais or Kias. They just don't seem to hold up like the Toyotas do, and that's a big reason why the Toyota Corolla is such a winner. It seems like you get a few less features, but you're paying for the reliability, and you're getting it. And here's one that's one of my classic favorites for small cars you really can't ignore. There's a lot of great features to this. For one, it's one of the largest naturally aspirated engines, a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. The only downside is that it has cylinder deactivation, but you can offset that if you buy the turbo version of the 2.5 liter. You go not only from 191 horsepower, but you also step that game up to about 250 horsepower, and you can do so, and now all of a sudden you don't have that cylinder deactivation. Now they come with a host of different technology. Of course, you get old school transmissions, which is good. They're reliable. So you either get a 6-speed manual gearbox when mated up to a base model and the front wheel drive only, or you can step into the all-wheel drive, and of course then you get the 6-speed automatic torque converter automatic transmission, which is of course conventional. Mazda said, no, we don't want CVTs, ain't having none of that. And that's why Mazda has been a very, very reliable brand lately. Now, of course, they have great style. I love the looks of the headlights of these vehicles. Look at the black polished wheels. Look at these mirrors. That almost looks like my old Jag F-type mirrors. Of course, you do get a sunroof on there. And honestly, the interior is nicer than most of their competition. Leather, nice finishing, stitching. and the overall quality is leagues ahead. It actually feels more like a BMW inside. Now these Mazdas come either in a sedan or you can get the hatchback like this. This one here is the hatch. I personally would go for this. You put a set of spacers and the wider wheels and lower it, this car looks absolutely spectacular. But here we have the Mazda 3 and it's the all-wheel drive version, and as you see, this is Skyactiv Turbo. So here we have, this is the one I said, 250 horsepower. You get piano finishing all over the place, beautiful lights on there, and I love the overhang of that hatchback. Looks sporty. Small simplistic handles on the vehicle. RepairPal states that you're only going to see about 0.3 failures per year, very similar to the Corolla, or only maybe every 3 or 4 years you might have something pop up. On top of it, it's about $460 per year to maintain, as opposed to the Corollas being about $360. So it's a wee bit more money than the Toyota Corolla, but it's likely a little less money than the Honda. Either way, it's very affordable to run every single day. There's not much that ever really goes wrong with these vehicles. I mean, keep it for 15, 20 years. Some of the older Mazdas tended to rust. Time will tell on some of these vehicles how well they hold up. But overall, go with the turbo. You don't deal with the cylinder deactivation, but either way, they're all good. The 2.5 liter 4, whether it's NA or the turbo form, are going to be reliable mates for your commuting experiences. And I know it's all in the eye of the beholder here, but I personally love the Mazda 3. I just think it brings something fresh to the market that a lot of other brands don't bring. And this is so much better than anything you're going to find in the domestic marketplace. The Mazda 3, definitely one that's reliable, cheap on gas, and affordable. And maybe you don't really want one of those small cars. Maybe you think the budget might help you with some luxury cars. Be sure to check out right there the only 3 BMWs that I would personally ever own. Hope to see each and every one of you in the next one, everybody. See you then. Bye-bye.